Hello and good morning to everyone joining us today. This is the first edition to our segment Opinions That Matter. In this edition, we have invited some of the top industry executives who have spent many years working in sales and marketing. Each one of them believes in keeping a tab on the pulse of the market and their customers by engaging in regular fieldwork. Today, they share with us the opinions and the possible future for cardio and anti-diabetic segment in the Indian pharma industry. On our panel today, we have Mr. Bijendra Singh, who is the Senior Vice President and Cluster Head at Lupin Limited. We have Ms. Seema Samant, AVP at Sun Pharmaceuticals Limited, and Mr. Vinay Singh, Senior Vice President and Cluster Head at Zydus Healthcare Limited. My first question is to Mr. Bijendra Singh. Sir, we see in the current months of June, July, and even August, most of the therapies have picked up except cardiology and diabetes. What could be the probable reasons for a slower growth being registered for both these therapies?
Richard, there are two, three reasons because of that the growth is slower. One is the less number of patients, especially for follow-up in case of cardiology and diabetes. So, because it is a progressive disease, diabetes as well as cardiology. So, always whenever a patient comes after some time, there is addition in the drugs. So, that is not happening. So, low patient footfall is one of the reasons. Secondly, whatever new diagnosis is happening in case of diabetes or cardiology, it is because of the COVID treatment, the post-COVID diagnosis of diabetes is steroid induced, which is very transient in nature, and after 2 to 3 months with the treatment, patient goes back to normal. So newer diagnosis of the frank diabetes patients are less. And there are a lot of CVD patients. If you just recall the number of cases in COVID in India and the death, which is almost amounts to 3%. So, and the most common comorbidity was cardiology and diabetes ailment. So, a good number of patients has died. So, follow-up patients which was supposed to come in the treatment, they have not come because of the death. So, that is number is also reduced. And in normal case, if you just see, there 10 to 15% drop in the patient by virtue of change in the doctor, change in the therapy, or many other reasons, or change in the city. And the slow economy is also, we can correlate with our GDP growth. If you just look at the GDP growth, which is pre-COVID was 24.4%, and which has come back to now 20.1%, which is almost 80% of the pre-COVID level we have reached. So I think we should be be very, very optimistic, and going forward, things are going to be changed. And the advantage with COVID is that a lot of health consciousness has increased in the patients. So once the things coming to normal, patients are going to come, which will have a positive impact in the industry.
My next question is to Mr. Vinay Singh. So, last year there was a complete lockdown and no one was allowed to move outside. However, once the unlock started rolling out, we saw some pharmaceutical companies resumed work while others refrained from it. My question is, do you feel that the companies who went back to the field early, post the Unlock 1 was announced by the government, had the benefit of early sales in chronic product portfolio?
In my view, those companies who took opportunity to meet the doctors early post unlock 1 under the pretext of giving them safety kits, sanitizers, etc., must have helped them largely as they got more recognition and appreciation from the doctors for putting that extra effort to meet doctors' need during pandemic. In addition, because of panic buying, product availability at retail level became a critical factor. Companies who started early fieldwork could capitalize on it as they had well defined priority of improving their product availability by reaching out to more number of chemists with their clear focus on POB. Well, in short, these companies aligned with the well-known saying, early bird catches the fly. Well, to answer your question, yes, companies who started early post lockdown had clear advantage in terms of recognition in doctors' clinic and improving the product availability at retail level.
Seema ma'am, I believe many pharmaceutical companies were trying different avenues to reach out to HCPs during the lockdown. The same also holds true about doctors and patients trying to reach out to each other. We saw platforms like Practo advertising very aggressively during the lockdown. Well, we also have new entrants like Mfine entering the market now. What is your opinion on teleconsultation and its future in our country?
Healthcare sector witnessed many changes during COVID pandemic, and one of the most disruptive change is the exponential growth of telemedicine. One of the reports suggests that online consultations they increased by 500% during COVID period. Now this usage increased because both patients as well as doctors they wanted a very safe way for accessing and delivering healthcare. Many pharma companies they also facilitated this trend because many pharma companies they collaborated with multiple telehealth platforms as well as they developed their own telehealth platforms so that they can effectively serve doctors during this period. Now the big question remains whether this trend is going to continue. My sense is telemedicine is going to stabilize. The growth which we are witnessing now is going to go down. However, the total number of online consultations are going to be significantly higher as compared to the online consultations that were happening before COVID period. Now this growth is mainly contributed because of the comfort that both doctors as well as patients develop during this period. My expectation is that telemedicine is not going to remain isolated. It's going to get integrated during the day-to-day practice of the doctor. The doctor's practice is going to be more phygital, where the first few consultations would be physical consultations and follow-up consultations, especially for outstation patients would be more digital consultations. Now, there are many challenges, and if these challenges are addressed, they will ensure it will ensure that there will be a sustainable growth of this sector. Now, look at this challenge that there is a less awareness about digital payments in tier 2, tier 3 cities. Even the bandwidth issue, the internet issues, they overall compromise the visit experience of doctors and patients. So even though there are so many challenges, but the technology is evolving, and I feel that yes, telemedicine is here to stay and is likely to grow beyond pandemic period.
Vijayendra sir, I have one more question for you. In the recent times, we have seen a surge in the online pharmacies. Big names like Amazon have started a pilot in Bangalore, while Tata has invested in 1mg. With more online pharmacies establishing business in the country, do you see a shift in the purchase of chronic therapies from the traditional brick and mortar establishments to online pharmacies?
I think this is one big change which has happened during the COVID and post-COVID. The online pharmacy definitely adding business, and this is changing the business model. Because of the online, the advantage, medicines are reaching to the doorstep of the patient. And for the companies or industry, the advantage we are getting a lot of transparency in the data and the distribution, and as well as planning objectives. So that is the one advantage because of the chain pharmacy or e-pharmacy which you are referring for. And there are more than 50 pharmacy currently working in India, e-pharmacy, and their growth is 50% over a period of time because of the COVID. And so this model is changing. Definitely, because of the COVID, people have experienced, they have increased confidence in the technology. And because of increase in technology, they are using this. And it is helping them, patient, to have the access to the medicine and the access to the medicine at their doorstep. And probably this is the game changer. And going forward, this is going to be the model in the coming time.
Vinay sir, my last question of the day is to you. Life is back to normal for quite a considerable percentage of population in the country today. However, we still have restrictions on travel, and patients from smaller towns are not able to come to tier 1 cities for consultation. Do you see a difference in metro, non-metro patient footfall and new patient detection in chronic therapies like diabetes and cardiology?
Based on my interaction with doctors and field executives, I have reasons to believe that metros are impacted more than non metros. The patient footfall in metros was severely impacted due to lack of transportation facilities and general fear of pandemic. Well, the fact is, metro patient footfall is still less than usual, as many patients still prefer to do online consultation versus non metro, where people prefer going to clinics. In addition, new patient detection has considerably slowed down. Most of the patients seen during teleconsultation by doctors are follow up patients. There is reduction in routine surgeries, health checkup, and in clinic camps conducted by companies has significantly dropped. Hence, incidental health elements may have reduced. Having said that, I believe moving forward, we will see a better traction as patient footfall in metros and non metros will steadily get back to normal as COVID cases are relatively lesser.
Thank you, sir. This adds a lot of value. I also take this opportunity to thank Brijendra sir and Seema ma'am for joining our panel today and sharing their thoughts with us. Thank you so much. I would also like to thank our industry partners for spending their valuable time with us. Your feedback and suggestions on this initiative are welcome. With this, we end our Industry Insights webinar for IPM performance in the month of August 21. Thank you. Have a great day ahead.